Here we have a surprise. The boss figured that he was done for because he knew how fast knights could go on horseback. And he figured it was about 8 miles an hour, which is far faster than a person can run for any given amount of time, for any long period of time. And this is with swapping out horses and swapping out mounts and pushing things as fast as they can. He figured they wouldn't be there before sunset. Well, Clarence was clever. And the boss has introduced all sorts of different technology. He has telephones going around and telegraphs and bicycles, apparently. So Clarence has been training knights on bicycles. So this is kind of an ingenious thing to do, because bicycle can go 20, 30 miles an hour, especially across flat terrain, or downhill is even better. Now, London is a fairly low-lying city. I'm not sure where Camelot is, but if Camelot were a little bit higher up, then you're going downhill and you just roll. So the boss had the knights on bicycles, charging with lances. Now, this isn't quite as good as charging with lances on horseback, but it's still better than nothing. Plus, knights showing up, a whole bunch of them, with swords and lances, and everyone's going to be like, okay, you're in charge. And so Clarence came up with the idea of the knights on bicycles. And the idea of this is not as absurd as it sounds. There have been a few times in warfare where bicycles have been used to extremely great effect. During World War II, Singapore was invaded by Japanese troops on bicycles because needed narrower tracks. They didn't have to build roads, and it allowed them to move in a lot of infantrymen really, really quick. So they had these infantrymen on bicycles. Plus, you don't have gasoline. You don't have all the supplies for it. So they were able to move in men on bicycles much faster than could be accomplished, and the Allies got outflanked. And this sort of thing has happened a couple of other times in history. I seem to remember something about bicycles in World War I. I can't remember exactly. But it's one of those things that it works and it makes sense. And because bicycles allow you to carry yourself and a load without too much extra effort. It actually takes less energy to ride a bicycle. Now, I personally cannot ride a bicycle, and this is kind of a failing. My balance is absolutely horrible, and I never learned. And so because I never learned how to ride a bicycle and my balance is terrible, I haven't picked it up as an adult. Maybe someday I will, but probably not at this point in my life. But bicycles are a great, great way to get around. If you're to take a look at a triathlon, so a triathlon is a race where you swim, you run, and you bike. And a full triathlon, you swim like 3 miles, which is long and hard work, and I can swim 3 miles. Then you run a full marathon, 21.6 miles. I can cover 21.6 miles in a day by walking. I've done it a few times before. I've covered 30 miles in a day by walking with a pack. And it is grueling, it is hard. And then finally, there's bicycle, which is 100 miles. So that's over 4 times as long as the running pace. But the bike part of it is done last and covers a greater distance, or it's done last and gets accomplished faster than the running, because bicycling is just that much easier than walking, especially on flat terrain or going downhill. Now, when they do the triathlons, of course, they make sure that the terrain varies some, so, you have to struggle to go uphill, and then you get to coast some going downhill and struggle, and so that it's not just like running flat. But never learned to ride a bicycle. Uh, I don't run fast, so I won't be able to run a marathon, but I can certainly walk one. I can certainly walk one, but I won't set any speed records. I'm not built for speed. But anyway, bicycles are great, great things, and in this case, it saved the boss and it saved the king. And we'll see what the king does to everybody in London who was mocking him. Because, I think the king would accept being hung for murder. He can see the law there being, okay, yeah, you should be hung for murder. At the same time, he can see himself being pardonable because he shouldn't have been a slave anyway, and he was taken falsely, and the person deserves to be killed for that. So the king can see that one, but him being mocked that's going to chafe him. That is going to rile him seriously. So we'll see what happens when he's all riled up about these things. Maybe the proper obeisance from the commoners, the proper bowing and scraping, will calm him down and not. Will calm him down, and so he won't take dreadful revenge on them. But we'll see.